tried to cut these corners, tried to take the easy way. I kept on falling short of something. I could have gave up then, but then again I couldn't have, 'cause I've traveled all this way for something. I take it in, but don't look down. 'Cause I'm on top of the world, eh? I'm on top of the world, eh? Been waiting on this for a while now, paying my dues to the dirt. I've been waiting to smile, eh? Been holding it in for a while, eh? Take you with me if I can. Been dreaming of this since a child. I'm on top of the world. 'Cause I'm on top of the world, eh? I'm on top of the world, eh? Been waiting on this for a while now, paying my dues to the dirt. I've been waiting to smile, eh? Been holding it in for a while, eh? Take you with me if I can. Been dreaming of this since a child. And I know it's hard when you're falling down, and it's a long way up, and you can't get around. But get up now, get up, get up now. And I know it's hard when you're falling down, and it's a long way up, and you can't get around. But get up now, get up, get up now. 'Cause I'm on top of the world, eh? I'm on top of the world, eh? Been waiting for this for a while now. Paying my dues to the dirt. I've been waiting to start, eh? Holding it for a while, eh? Take you with me if I can. Dreaming of this since a child. I'm on top of the world.
Well, hello everybody. Good evening. Hopefully everyone can hear me okay. It looks like my voice is coming along okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us for our final day of the Everything U of G Fair. Today we're talking residence and dining on our campus. Before we get started, I want to acknowledge that University of Guelph resides on the ancestral lands of the Adoradoran people and treaty lands of the Mississaugas of the Credit. Recognize the significance of the Dish with One Spoon covenant to this land and offer our respects to our Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, and Métis neighbors as we strive to strengthen our relationships with them. So wherever you're tuning in from, parts of Ontario, potentially parts of Canada, or even all around the world, I encourage you to reflect on the land that you're currently standing on. My name is John Bosco Kai, and I'm a liaison officer of secondary school recruitment at the University of Guelph. It's my role and my passion to speak to students such as yourself, and I will be the host for today's session. I graduated a few years ago with a Bachelor of Arts in Criminal Justice and Public Policy. I also minored in history. I love soccer. My favorite team is Manchester United. As I mentioned earlier, today is the final day of our Everything U of G series. So this is a series of webinars over this week where we give you and your parents and supporters all the information you need to apply to University of Guelph and find yourself part of the Griffin family in the fall of this year. So please sit back, relax, take in all the information we have for you today. If you're interested in closed captioning, please select the live transcript option at the bottom of your Zoom page. And this session is going to be recorded. So if you want to come back and check it out, feel free to visit our website or our YouTube page for these sessions. During the next 45 minutes or so to an hour, we'll cover everything you need to know about what it's like to live and dine on our campus, as well as common questions that I'm sure you all have throughout this session. So if you have questions, feel free to dive right into the Q&A. We have our wonderful residents, hospitality, and recruitment staff who will be monitoring the Q&A, and we'll also be going through some popular FAQs at the end of the session. So I'm joined today by our experts and colleagues from all around campus who will be providing us information on what it's like to live on our campus. So let's meet our experts today. So we'll start with Leanne. Leanne, please take a moment to tell our future Griffins all about what you do and yourself.
Thanks, John Bosco, and hello, everyone from wherever you are tonight. A little bit about me. I'm the manager of admissions and marketing for Student Housing Services. That's my day job, and I moonlight as a city councillor. So I have an ear to the ground to how amazing the city of Guelph is as a place to live. You're not just choosing the University of Guelph, you're choosing the city of Guelph as your new home, and I'm really proud of that. I did my master's degree at the University of Guelph. So that Griffin pride is alive and well. And right now, as we speak, downstairs in my basement, I have a big bin of voracious, hungry worms. A little bit about me. Back to you, John Bosco.
Thank you. That sounds very exciting. So next we have Alex. Alex, we're very excited to have you today. Please introduce yourself to our future Griffins.
Yeah, so hello everyone. My name is Alex. I use he, him pronouns. And I have two different jobs within student housing services at the university. So my first one is I work as the multimedia assistant. So if you're following us on Instagram, for example, at U of G Housing, I'm the one who manages that account and all of our social media. I also do website development and that type of stuff. I also work as a residence assistant. So I'm right here in residence. You might be able to see behind me. I'm actually in one of our East Village townhouses right now. So I live in here with students, supporting them as they go through their year. Some things about me: I'm in my third year. I'm with the Lang School of Business. My major is in management, and I have a minor in French studies. So it's great to try different things and be in different colleges at the same time. As I said, I live in East Village and I'm an RA here and love working with that team. And then some fun things I like to do on the side in my spare time. I really like hiking, already planning some fun stuff for the summer. And of course, my dog, who I wish I could have in residence with me, but I always find time to take him on a walk and get to see him too. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
Thank you, Alex. Next, we'll move over to Samantha and the dining team. So Samantha, we'll start with you.
Perfect. Hello, everyone. It's so exciting to be here with you all this evening. And so my name is Samantha. My pronouns are she and her, and I actually hold a really unique role here at the University of Guelph. I have a split position between two of our departments. So our Department of Sustainability, or known as the Sustainability Office, and then Hospitality Services. So I do quite a few neat things around sustainability initiatives here on campus, which I'll dive into when we get to our dining section. If you're following the Sustainability Office on Instagram, which is at Sustainable U of G or at Hospitality U of G, a lot of those photos and stuff are what I get to work on through my day-to-day. So definitely recommend checking those out if you're interested in learning more. And fun fact, I love dogs, much like Alex does as well. When I was doing my undergrad here at the University of Guelph, I really wanted a dog. So I ended up starting fostering and fell in love with it and have now fostered 45 dogs later. So yeah, that's just a little bit about me, and I'll pass it back to you, John.
Thank you, Samantha. So Vanessa, over to you.
Hello, my name is Vanessa and I'm the Hospitality Services Ombudsperson. I know it's kind of a big word and not a lot of people know what that means. I'm essentially just a student link for hospitality services, and I will go into more detail on that later in the presentation. A little bit about me is I'm in my third year of the Applied Human Nutrition program here at Guelph. I have many hobbies, that of which include playing guitar, working out, cooking, drawing and other visual arts, as well as writing poetry. And I'll pass it back to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to know you, Vanessa. And Chloe, close us off.
All right, hi everyone. I'm really excited to be here, and my name is Chloe, and I'm this year's SNAP Assistant Coordinator, and SNAP is basically a nutrition resource on campus, and I'll kind of get into that later about who we are and what we do. I'm a third year applied human nutrition student, and I'm doing an area of emphasis in dietetics. And just a fun fact about me, during lockdown, I had a lot of time on my hands and picked up crocheting as a hobby. And I'll pass it back to John. Thank you.
Thank you. You all sound so very interesting. So that's great. Thank you for those introductions. So without further ado, I'll pass it over to Leanne and Alex, who will get us started.
Great, thanks. So one of the big decisions that you have to make, of course, is what program to apply to and whether to come to the University of Guelph. And when you choose the University of Guelph, the next big decision is, where am I going to live? And living on campus also means eating on campus. And so we're going to do a presentation today that will hopefully answer all of your questions. Most of them, hopefully, we will also have the Q&A running. Most of those questions in the Q&A will be answered today, but there's always something that takes us by surprise. There's nothing wrong with a bad question. Hopefully we can get to everyone today. So we're ready to go. Next slide. Let's talk about the numbers first. We'll tell you a little bit about our residences. We have over 2,800 single rooms. We have about 4,700 spaces on campus. 2,800 of those are single rooms. We have lots of single rooms available, and those are open for first-year students and upper-year students as well. 12 different residence communities that I'll describe in a little bit more detail later. 5 different living learning communities, and I'll describe what those are a little bit later as well. 4 full service dining halls that service our residence population, but they're open to everybody, and over 150 amazing residence life staff, and that includes your peers, which are residence assistants and program facilitators, but also full-time live-in professional residence managers who supervise our residence assistants and who make sure that all of our students are supported through their personal and academic journeys while living in residence on campus. And I'm really happy to say that Maclean's 2021 ranked the University of Guelph #1 in the residence living experience. Next slide. One of the questions that we get a lot is what are the advantages of living in residence? So I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Alex, who actually lives in residence, and he can tell us a little bit more about all of the advantages to being here right on campus during your first year. Alex.
Yeah, so I could probably go on for way too long about all the amazing advantages of living in residence, but this is a snapshot of some of the really good ones that I think you'll appreciate. So the first one is meet and make lifelong friends. I can attest to that myself. I remember in O Week I came to campus. I didn't really know anyone who was going to Guelph. I didn't have a lot of connections, and I was nervous about, if I would fit in, if I would meet people. And right away I found a group of people who I immediately clicked with in O Week. Orientation week is a really unique time because pretty much everyone who comes to university is doing it, together. You're meeting new people. Everyone wants to make friends. And so it's this really rare time in your life where everyone's looking to meet someone. And that can last for the rest of your life. I know last summer, we helped put together a proposal in South residence where someone met their partner in South, and that's where they ended up proposing. So I'm not saying that's going to happen, but that's something that could happen in residence too. So there's lots of great things with that. Also, that idea of independence with support at the same time. I love living in residence because, I'm away from home. I don't have to necessarily deal with all of that stuff, but I still have the support that I need when I need it. So for example, my role as a residence life staff, as a residence assistant, I support students as they're coming into residence to make sure that you have the best experience possible. I like to think of my job as kind of a mission control or like a hub for where you can start with a problem, because your residence assistants are trained to know all the campus resources that we have. And while we may not be able to give you an immediate answer, we'll know someone who does have the answer who we can ask. And I think that's really cool. And it's something that's pretty unique about university, which you'll enjoy. The other piece of it is convenience. Obviously, when you're living on campus and you study on campus, it doesn't get any easier than that. I know, for example, if you have an 8:30 class, which sometimes can be a drag, you can still get out of bed in South at 8:25 and walk to Rosansky, where a lot of our lectures are, and you'll still be on time, which is really cool. I'm not saying that's happened to me, but I'm also not denying it. The other part is campus community connections. So we have so many resources available to you on campus. And while most of our resources are available to all students, it's really easy to access them when you live in residence. And as I said before, someone like myself as a residence assistant can give you a referral to get help, whether it's with mental health and wellness, you're wondering about things related to athletics and joining intramurals, we can help you find those connections, and also just having that safety piece, which I'll talk about in a second. Academic success is really important. Obviously, you're coming to university to, make connections and, dare I say, have fun. But at the same time, you really want to do well in your academics, and we're here to support you with that. So we have positions in residence, which are called cluster leaders. So if you choose to live in an academic cluster, which I'll talk about in a little bit, we have people who are there to support you all the time with your athletics, and you can live in a community of people who are in the same program as you and who are going through the same types of things. They're studying for the same midterms and all those things. We also offer academic drop-in centers in residence, which is a spot to go if you need support with a certain course and you're not really sure who to go to, or if you have a question and maybe you're not comfortable going to your TA or your professor, we can help you work through those things and figure out the best path forward for you. And then finally, that piece about the 24-hour assistance. When you're living in residence, we have desks that are open literally 24 hours, 7 days a week. There's no holidays for them. And we're here to support you if you have a problem. For example, you live in East Village. I know students have had their fire alarm go off. We can help you with that. If you get locked out of your room, I remember in first year I lived in South and I had a friend and they went to shower and they left their room key in their room and they locked themselves out. Obviously not something you hope for, but if it does happen, we're here to help you. You can call the desk. They'll bring a key right to you, so you don't even have to worry about that. Also with your check-in and check-out, they'll support you through that entire process. So really the best part about living on campus, I would say, is all the support that you'll get and also that independence. That's really what it comes down to. And it's a really exciting time in your life and an experience you probably haven't had before. And with that, I'll pass it back over to Leanne.
Great, thanks, Alex. All great reasons. And you only lock yourself out of your room once and everybody does it. Okay, let's move on and talk about the different residence communities that are available to you. So we have 3 different types of residence community. What we call a traditional residence is where you have a single or a double bedroom, but you have a shared communal area in the hall. You're sharing a communal washroom, lounge, TV, games rooms, gathering areas, and a meal plan. All students in traditional residences are required to have a meal plan because there are not full kitchens available within your floor, but they generally all have kitchenettes on every floor. So you can prepare like meals. You would use any heating element type of appliances like a toaster and a kettle down in your kitchenette. So you can prepare light snacks in between, use and supplement your meal plan. We have a suite style options as well. And a suite style accommodation is where you have your own individual private bedroom or a double room, but you're in a suite or an apartment where you're only sharing the common areas with other members of your suite. So in East Residence, we have 6, 9, and 12 bedroom suites. And in Lambton Hall, we have 2 bedroom suites with a kitchenette. So those in Lambton are still on a meal plan, but those in East Residence can opt out of the meal plan. Many of our East Residence students, including our East Village students as well, will often opt for a meal plan simply for convenience and because, as you'll hear a little bit later, the food is so amazing. We also have 4 bedroom and 5 bedroom townhouses. Everyone in the townhouse has a private bedroom. You have shared kitchen, dining room, and living area on the main floor, and then 2 private bedrooms and a washroom on the second floor, 2 private bedrooms and a washroom on the third floor. So you're only sharing the washroom with one other person. The great thing, which you'll see on the next map, is all of the campus residences circle. Oh, the map's not there. Okay, don't worry about it. All of the residences circle the campus like a wheel. The central classrooms tend to be in the center of campus. If you're able to take a campus tour, you'll see that all the residences are around the center of campus. So everything is about a 5 to 7 minute walk from your classes. We're anticipating in the fall that all of our residences will be open. So the next thing we're going to talk about is all the different living and learning enrichment that happens in residence. And there's 2 ways that we provide that, and that is academic clusters and living learning communities. So I'm going to turn it over to Alex, who's going to describe them just briefly.
Yeah, thanks, Leanne. So yeah, as she mentioned, we have two of these really unique opportunities. As you're going through this, I'll explain them to you, and I will say that they're optional. So it's something you can decide if it's right for you, and you can apply to be in an academic cluster or in a living learning community. But at the same time, if you don't choose to be in one of these, then you'll just be put with other students at the University of Guelph. So the first one is academic clusters. And as I mentioned before, these ones are students who are enrolled in the same program. In each academic cluster, you have a cluster leader who will provide activities and supports which are really tailored to your program. So it's a really great way to get that support if you need it and also be surrounded by those peers. I know it's a huge thing during midterm season when you want to make sure you have quiet and you have people around you who aren't being rowdy necessarily. While we do try and control that when we can, sometimes that happens, obviously. But it's nice when you live in a cluster because everyone around you is going through the same thing. So you can study for midterms together and final exams. It'll be quiet around the same times usually, and that can be really valuable. Clusters are also available for all programs, which is really cool. So it doesn't matter what you're applying to at the University of Guelph. If you choose to be in a cluster, we will look for your program and we'll find something that works for you if that's what you choose to be in. The second one is living learning communities, and these ones are not academic based at all. So you can be in any program and you can join these. And they're students who share common interests. So if you're looking for people who might be more like-minded, who have similar values perhaps, then this would be a good option for you. And then you also have a program facilitator in living learning communities. So what we do is we provide extra programming. In all of our residences, we plan events and community experiences for you to get to know the people that you're living with. But the living learning communities have someone who's more hands-on with that and who's planning more regular programming that's all tailored towards this unique subject. So we have different ones. We'll see what the demand is like by what we're able to offer, but at this time we're planning to offer Arts House for students who are interested in art. That one is hosted in Arts House, conveniently called, which is also called Maids Hall in North Campus. Eco House, if you're interested in the environment and those types of subjects. We have Indigenous House, which is one that we've recently launched for students who identify as Indigenous or who have an interest in Indigenous culture. That could be for you. La Maison Française, as someone who is in a French minor, I didn't stay in there, but I have lots of friends who have been in that living learning community, and you can practice your French language skills and those types of things. Leadership House, if you want to take on more of those skills and look for more leadership opportunities in the community. International House, perhaps you're an international student and are looking for other international students to have more of those common experiences to share with as you're navigating the university. And also English Language House, if you're looking for that type of thing to get some support in that area. So again, these are optional. You can choose if it's something you'd like to apply for, and you'll indicate that in your residence application. But if you are looking for that extra support, or if this piques your interest, you should definitely consider it when you're looking at living in residence. And back to you, Leanne.
Great, thanks. We are now going to talk about how to apply. Once you receive your offer of admission, the first step is to accept your offer to the University of Guelph. You will get a package, a congratulations package, and it will give you lots of information about how to go about applying for residence. There are step-by-step instructions there. We also have step-by-step instructions on our website. You go on to what we call our housing portal, and it's everything about residence that you need to know about applying. And the application form itself is very step-by-step. You'll go from one question to the other in sequence, and you can go back and forth in the application before you submit it. On your application, we're going to ask you just to verify your information, parent and guardian information. We're going to ask you questions, personal profile questions, not too personal, things like what time do you do your best studying in the morning? Are you, do you like to study alone, or do you like to study in a group? What are you, a really neat person, or are you a little bit more freestyle? We use those questions in the event that you have a double occupancy or multi-occupancy room. We also ask you to tell us your 4 preferences for your residence building type, your residence building community, and that includes the academic clusters and living learning centers that we described a little bit earlier. We are also going to ask you for preference of room type, whether you want a single room, a double room, a multi-occupancy room, a townhouse, that kind of thing. And then we use those preferences to do your room assignments. And the room assignments are all done based on a lottery priority, which means first come, first serve, or higher marks, not going to guarantee you your preference for residence. We do have a really good track record of most students, about 85 to 90% of students in any given year getting one of their 4 selections. So we do ask that you give us a variety. There's lots of ways for you to find out what the different residences are. And last but not least, all of that needs to be completed and submitted with your deposit by June the 1st, 2022. So right now, we anticipate that all first-year incoming students entering their year 1 of their undergraduate program will be guaranteed a space in residence, but that all depends on whether you meet that June 1st deadline. So mark that in your calendar. Next slide. Because I said that the application form, we do ask you to select some different room and building choices. It's really helpful if you do some residence tours. And trust me when I say we would love to show you these tours, campus tours in person, because not only is the campus beautiful, but you can really get a 3-dimensional experience by going through our residences and seeing a typical student room in person. Unfortunately, for obvious reasons, we can't do that, but we have the next best thing, which is these kind of weird and wonderful 360-degree room tours where you can mouse around and you can see all nooks and crannies within a residence room, all different room types, singles, doubles in all of our different all of our buildings. Video room tours, we have narrated video tours on YouTube, and we have floor plans on our website. So just go to housing.uoguelph.ca /tours. Again, there's a link directly from our website to help you find those. And we encourage you to have a look around all of our residences and get a feel. Often the question we get a lot, and I'm sure Alex will concur, that we get, what's the best res, or what's the best res for me, or which residence should I live in? And that is really impossible for us to answer, because all of our residences are very different, and they everyone is looking for a different type of environment for their campus experience. So those who are looking for a traditional modern building will have something that appeals to them, and those who are looking for that ivy covered walls and the kind of close-knit campus community, a smaller building will have something that fits their needs. Those who want a little more independence and want to opt out of the meal plan, although I don't know why you would, is we have our East Residence Apartments and our East Village townhouses. So there's something for everyone. The truth of the matter is the best residence is the one that you're in. And I know that sounds cheesy, but we invent community year after year. So 90% and up of all of our residences are first-year students. So that community, that vibe of every single residence community is created by the people who are living in there that year. So you may have heard, oh, this residence was noisy, or this residence was really quiet, and that changes from year to year. So just pick something that you think might be the right environment for you. And our experience is that every student tells us whatever residence they're assigned, they love it. Once you move in and you meet the people all around you, that becomes your home, and you are part of that community and loving it and having a great experience. Follow us on social, U of G Housing, Instagram, and Twitter, and you can follow us now, even if you haven't made your decisions, because you can get a little flavor of what's happening in residence right now with our current students, and that'll give you an eye to what you can expect this time next year. So thanks. I think that brings us to the end of our presentation. Oh yeah, a little bit about COVID. We're working on making sure that you are safe and healthy through the year. We have symptom screening in place every day. We have isolation space for those who, if they're feeling symptomatic, we have a vaccination requirement. So if you're not vaccinated yet, please think about that for next fall. Enhanced cleaning in all of our common areas, our custodial staff wearing PPE and doing enhanced cleaning everywhere. And of course, we have our residence life staff support for all of the mental health challenges that come along with some of the new protocols that are in place. We started last year off with a no guest policy. We were gradually able to lift that and have more guests in residence and more interaction between residences and in-person activities. Obviously, with Omicron, that's been reeled back again this semester, but let's hope that fall 2022 we're back into the type of community that you are expecting and being able to interact between you and your community. Lots of questions. Keep them up on the chat. We have live chat on our website, housing.uoguelph.ca, Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30. So join us on our website for a live chat as well. And good old fashioned telephone always works. If there's any questions that you have that you leave here today unanswered, or that you wake up tomorrow and you just have to need a piece, you have to have a piece of information missing to help with your decision making, email us at housing@uoguelph.ca. Thanks. I think I talked already about joining us on social. There's some addresses. Make sure you check in and follow us as you're making your decisions about residence. Over to you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Leanne and Alex, for that. I'm seeing in the Q&A that students are reacting very positively to a lot of the things that you're saying, and we've got a number of really good questions coming in, and we'll tackle those in the Q&A section later. But for now, I'd want to pass it over to Samantha, Vanessa, and Chloe, who will walk us through dining on campus. So over to you, folks.
All right, thank you, John, and welcome everyone to this portion of the presentation. As John said, myself, Vanessa, and Sam will be covering dining on campus, and I'm very excited to get into it. I hope you all kind of take away something from this presentation that will spark your excitement about, of course, living and eating on campus. On to the next slide. Thank you. So if you didn't know, University of Guelph has actually been voted #1 in food service in Canada by the Maclean's magazine for over 10 years. And I feel like everyone on the panel can kind of attest to this, but food on campus is amazing. And it's only been a week of just online school, and I'm already kind of missing being back on campus and eating the food there. Next slide, please. So the University of Guelph is actually known for serving international flavors that are made with local ingredients. Our food selection obviously is exceptional, and its quality is exceptional. And you can find a wide variety of food selections available that are vegetarian, vegan, kosher, halal, and gluten-free. From popular comfort foods, extensive salad bars, to international cuisine, and some fun themed features. Our U of G chefs and staff work to create menus that have items for everyone. A personal favorite of mine on campus is actually the pita bar. This is because it's convenient. I can kind of just grab it on the go when I'm going to class, and I can always get something new because I can pick my own protein, sauces, and toppings. And of course, it's delicious every time. Just so to get into what SNAP is, SNAP stands for Student Nutrition Awareness Program. And we answer questions that are related to eating nutritiously on campus. And our goals are to kind of encourage students to develop positive eating habits and to promote nutritious food choices. Another big thing that we do is we help students kind of navigate dining on campus, whether they have allergies, dietary restrictions, or any dietary concerns. So we do encourage students to email us snap@uoguelph.ca for any questions related to eating on campus, and to follow us on Instagram, @SnapUofGuelph. We post a ton of food pictures, nutrition tips, as well as recipes on there, and of course, giveaway contests as well. And I'll be passing this on to Vanessa.
Thanks, Chloe, for filling us in about the amazing campus food as well as SNAP. Just to reintroduce myself again, my name is Vanessa, and I am the Hospitality Services Ombudsperson for this year. Basically, what that means is I'm your student link to hospitality services. My role is to collect feedback for hospitality services, and I do this through surveys as well as answering and relaying any questions you may have about food on campus. You can contact me at ombud@uoguelph.ca by email, or you can connect with me on Instagram as well, ombudufg. I do keep students up to date about all the latest hospitality things going on. So the University of Guelph actually has over 20 different dining facilities on campus. So no matter which residence you choose or where on campus you choose to be, there will always be lots of delicious options right nearby you. Some of our top locations include Creelman Hall, known for very famous Creelman pizza, one of my favorites, as well as the University Center Chef's Hall, Mountain Dining Hall, and Prairie Dining Hall for our folks in South residents, as well as the LA Grill for North resident students as well. So the University of Guelph offers 5 different meal plans, which are best catered for whatever appetite you have, as well as your frequency of how often you'll be on campus. They include the minimum plan, light, full, plus, as well as varsity meal plans. More information on these meal plans, how much they cost, and which one will best suit your appetite and frequency on campus can be found on our website. And with that, I will pass it on to Sam, who will speak a bit about sustainability as well as the bookstore.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Vanessa. So yeah, just to reintroduce myself really quickly, I am the sustainability coordinator. So I wanted to, of course, put a little plug in about some of the neat sustainability initiatives we do here at Hospitality Services. As it says on the screen, we have a strong commitment to serving food that's not only good for you, but for the planet too. And what that essentially means is we're working really hard behind the scenes as Hospitality Services to make choices here on campus easier for you as a customer or a diner to be more sustainable. So whether that's choosing menu items to have on there that are a bit more sustainable, or if it's making choices like we've now moved to cutlery across campus, so silver dining ware across campus to help reduce plastic waste. We also have really neat sustainability initiatives encouraging people to use reusable mugs or reusable containers like that blue one you see there on the side. In there is a whole mixture of really delicious things from one of our new stations called Nosh and Nourish, which was created by our U of G chefs. And it's a bunch of different kind of plant-based inspired like salads and dishes and main menu items that you can kind of combine on a pay what you can kind of pay by weight scale. So it's kind of neat that way. And that was one of the things that was put in actually by students requesting that they were really interested in having more plant-based options, but also having more bowl options. So we created the Nosh and Nourished, which is just a really cool example of how we work alongside those dining with us on campus to create new things and create new sustainability initiatives. And I could talk forever about all the cool things that happen here at the University of Guelph. I think we're definitely known for all the cool green stuff we do. So definitely follow us on Hospitality's social media to learn a bit more, but also on our website there at sustainability.hospitality.uoguelph.ca. Bit of a long title, but quite a bit of interesting information on there. Now on to the next slide. I'm just going to talk a little bit about the bookstore. So the University of Guelph bookstore is a very popular place here on campus. It's also available online. It's where you go to get all of your classic University of Guelph merch. So if you've been on campus or when you do come to campus, you will be seeing quite a few people rocking around in their University of Guelph sweaters. It's pretty fun when you're out and about outside of campus in the city or even beyond to spot people wearing the iconic University of Guelph sweater. The bookstore offers way beyond the classic University of Guelph sweaters or rugby jerseys, which you'll be seeing in the next slide. They offer textbooks, trade books, stationery, gifts, and then an awesome selection of just really cool U of G branded stuff and fun souvenirs. So tons of really unique things. I definitely recommend checking out the website down there at the bottom, bookstore.uoguelph.ca. They also have a Instagram as well, which has an Instagram shop. So it's bookstore at bookstore U of G, bookstore U of G for the Instagram. And then you can go and take a look around at some of the neat things that the bookstore has. And one of the things I wanted to touch on to the next slide is just a little bit about the textbook plan. And there in the corner, you'll see we have the rugby sweaters that are quite iconic. You'll definitely see people wear those, I think, all year round. But the textbook plan. So the textbook plan is a unique thing that we offer here at the University of Guelph. It's honestly just a really great way to save money. So when you are looking at your meal plans and thinking ahead about buying textbooks for your courses, this is definitely something to consider. It's essentially a plan where it's $1,000 added on, and it's used exclusively at the bookstore. So it can cover pretty much anything. So if you're doing labs and you have to buy lab reports or a lab coat or goggles, or if you want to buy any U of G clothing, you want to get some school supplies, it'd be all covered under that $1,000. So you just be using your student card, and your student card at the University of Guelph, you use pretty much for everything. So your student card is essentially, it's your meal card. So when you want to pay for your meal, you tap your student card. When you want to pay for something at the bookstore and you have a textbook plan or your flex dollars, you would be able to pay with your student card. So pretty handy thing. And so essentially once you pay at the bookstore with the textbook plan, you do get that rebate. So you get 10% back onto your purchase, which is added back to your plan. So it's a great way to kind of save money. Your $1,000 can also be used through your time here at the University of Guelph. So it's quite handy. I definitely recommend taking a look. I had it when I was here doing my undergrad, and I found it super useful, and I was able to use it beyond my first year as well. But yeah, enough about the textbook plan. We'll head on to our last slide here before we'll answer some questions. And feel free to put your questions in the chat. Right now, we're happy to answer any, but if you have any that pop up, or if you want to see more delicious food photos, I know we had quite a few put in our presentation, feel free to follow us on social media. It's at Hospitality U of G. We Twitter, Facebook. We also have a TikTok, and we love seeing our U of G food TikToks. There's quite a few that have gone viral. So definitely recommend checking us out. We do post lots of very good food photos. So even if you just want to get inspired about what you might be eating coming up next year, definitely recommend giving us a follow. And then our website. Our website has a ton of really important information, everything from meal plans and the amounts and maybe some helping decision factors on there, but then also just important information, whether you have allergies or you're interested in what menu items we have. I definitely recommend doing a browse through our website. But yeah, thanks so much for having us, and we hope you learned a bit more about hospitality.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Sam, Vanessa, and Chloe, for really walking us through all of the dining options on our campus. Those pictures of the food really have me hungry, so I'm definitely running up to grab some meat after this. But yeah, so thanks for that. Before we head into the Q&A portion, I just want to say a big congratulations to any students that have received an offer from the University of Guelph. It's definitely well earned, and I hope you can take time to celebrate this offer. Note that you have until June 1st to accept your offer. I certainly hope that we are your number one choice, and hopefully the information you've heard today will provide you all information to accept that offer. For anyone waiting to hear back, please note that we're still sending out offers, and we'll continue to do so all the way through to May. So lots of time to hear back from us. So let's dive into Q&A, and we had a number of really good questions that came up. So I'll welcome back Leanne and Alex. I'll start with the residence portion. Leanne, we had a number of students ask us about how they can apply with their friend. Are they allowed to have overnight guests? So maybe walk us through that process of living with a friend on campus.
Sure, happy to. I saw those in the chat as well. So if you have a friend that you want to live with, there is a spot on the application for you to add up to 3 friends that you might want to live with, because you might want to live in one of our townhouses. And so we take roommate requests for even the East apartment. So if you want a single room, but you want to live in a townhouse or an East apartment with friends, we give you the ability to add those folks to your application form. The important thing is you have to wait until after June 1st, because only students who apply on time and pay their deposit will be invited to add a roommate to their application form. So we just need to make sure that you both met that deadline. The other important thing is that you both align your residence choices the same. And more importantly, that you both ask for each other. So if you ask for your best friend, but your best friend does not add you to their application, we are not going to match you together, because we assume that there might be a reason why your best friend didn't add your name, and maybe they don't really want to live with you. So it's really important that you both add each other and that you align your residence choices. Because the assignments are done by lottery priority, what basically happens there, and this might go to answering answering another one of the questions that's on the chat is, say we have 4,000 applicants. After June 1st, we run a lottery and everyone is given a lottery number 1 through 4,000. And you've given us your 4 choices on your application, and we go to your first, say you draw number 1, we go to the first choice that you have on your application, and you get your first choice of residence. Second choice, third choice, fourth choice, and so on. There is a point in time when we go to your lottery number, say 237, and your first choice is gone. So we then go to your second choice. There is a point in time where we get to, 2,000 in the lottery, and your first and second choice and your third choice are gone. So we'll go to your fourth choice. We also try to put you in the room type. So if your first choice was, say, a single room in Lennox Addington, and we get to your lottery number and a Lennox Addington single is not available, we will look for a single room somewhere in another building. If you told us that the room type was more important than your building choice. So there's lots of different ways to fill out your application and give us a sense of what it is that you're looking for. Now, if you put double room and a certain building choices, then you and your roommate need to ask for the same thing. Because if you don't ask for the same thing, what will happen is, say your lottery number comes up first and you asked for South residence. So we're going to assign both you and your roommate to your choice. But if your roommate comes up in the lottery before you and your roommate has asked for East residence, then the roommate gets their first choice of residence. So talk to your potential roommate, make sure that you're aligned in your residence choices, and fill out the application accordingly. So that was a really long-winded answer, but I hope it gives you kind of a look inside how the assignment process works to better advantage you to get what you asked for.
Thank you so much, Leanne. Another big question that I would also get is around potentially service animals, or maybe they might need support with student accessibility services. So how might a student reach out if they need those kinds of supports within the residence application process?
That's great. Great question, because we do have a number of students with a wide variety of needs. So anything from a service animal to a dietary need to mobility need, visually impaired students, mental health needs. So there's lots of reasons, learning disabilities, so many different reasons why students would need an accommodation. So we have an accommodation form on our website that goes with your application. It needs to have supporting documentation. That supporting documentation can come from Student Accessibility Services on campus. And so we absolutely suggest that that is your first point of contact. If you need an accommodation that has nothing to do with your academic needs, it's just a housing need, then contact us and you only have to fill out the one form. But if you need an accommodation for your academic side and your housing side, then Student Accessibility Services is your first stop. Your choice of residence may be limited to the type of accommodation you need. So for example, a service animal is only assigned East Village. And the reason for that is that East Village has an exterior, patio door where you can, let your animal out easily. It's adjacent to the Arboretum, so fresh air and minimizing impact on other students. If you need a private washroom for medical reasons, we do have that available, but again, supporting documentation. So my suggestion is start on our website and look for the accommodation form, and then look at the different residence options. We have a chart on the website that lists all the potential different accommodations that we have and which residences can house your specific needs. And when in doubt, contact us at housing@uofguelph.ca and we will answer your specific question about your specific needs.
Perfect. I love that. Very thorough information for our students there. Thank you so much, Leanne. Alex, I'll pull you in now. It seems like you're quite ahead. A number of students really fascinated that you were an RA. So tell us, how can you become, students are wondering, how can they become RA? And one student asked, does that mean free residence? So walk us through your experience being an RA.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only reason I'm here right now is the free rent. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I love working in residence. But yeah, so basically how it works is I think what's most important is to first make sure you love living in residence. Obviously, I think you all will, but residence has really unique challenges when you're working in residence life staff, and you really do become that support for students. So it's a little bit on, behind the curtain as far as what we're offering to students. But there are lots of leadership opportunities in residence for sure. So residence life staff is one for after first year. If you're considering, you want to keep living on campus, you do get paid to do a role like this. And you also get a free meal plan if you're living in residence in one of those roles. So there are some perks associated with that. But at the same time, there's also opportunities to be a leader in your first year just to get started and dip your toe in the water. So for example, we have our Interhall Council, which is our student government in residence. And they plan events for students. There's people like social coordinators, people who run social media for each of the residences. Each of our residences also has a mascot, which you can proudly embrace. So there's lots of leadership opportunities there to get you started right away. And then if you're following us on Instagram, you'll probably see right now we are doing hiring for our residence life staff for next year. So it's really exciting because we do have about 150 residence life staff in a given year. So there are opportunities in the future, but for now, focus, I would say, on getting into residence, loving your first year experience, and then taking on a role where you can tell everyone else about it and support other students too.
Thank you so much, Alex. That was great. So Sam, Vanessa, and Chloe, I'll pull you folks in. Some students are wondering, and they saw the presentation where you highlighted why we are the #1 food in Canada. From either of you three, based on your experience, what would you say really makes us stand out as the #1 food in Canada?
Yeah, I can hop in and answer this one. I have so many reasons that come to mind why I think we're #1, but it's definitely, I think, our customer satisfaction. We are very much focused and determined to ensure that the experience studying on campus is a great one. And so we have 100% customer satisfaction guarantee. So if you ever have a meal and it's maybe not to your taste, you don't like it, the potatoes are a little cold, for whatever the reason, you can go back to manager and you'll get your meal comped. Like you can get a replacement or a recomp, like back on your meal plan. So definitely our determination for customer satisfaction and having that great experience is definitely what makes dining on campus, I think, different than dining at other institutions. And we also have such a commitment to, I think, as Chloe said, sharing international flavors with local ingredients. So our chefs are super passionate. There's chefs that have really cool recipes from all over the world that they really bring in and make their own. So a lot of the menus are really made with love and a lot of care. And they always are mixing up menus. So there's always new things to try. The chefs are really awesome. They find like TikTok trends and they're like, oh, we should make this and we should try this. And oh, students really love this. And they really want to hear student feedback when crafting menus. So I think it's just the love and care and really the connection to food. I mean, we are the food university, so I think it only makes sense that we're known for having the best food in all of Canada for university food services, because it is that connection and that care for food that I think why we're #1.
Thank you for that, for your story there, Sam. So let's talk a little bit specific. Some students are also wondering, if I run out of money on my account, how do I add money back into my card? So that is a question that came up, and some students are also wondering, if I'm off campus student, how can I take advantage of the meal options on campus?
Yeah, Vanessa, I don't know if you want to tackle this one, or I'll dive in and we'll share some of the other ones. For the portion, I can talk a little bit about refunding, and then Vanessa maybe talk about the off-campus portion. So if you do run out of funding on your meal plan, so your meal plan, essentially, if you go on the website, you'll see the price. So you'll get half the amount in the fall semester and half the amount in the winter semester. So it kind of helps with pacing. So you don't get it all in one big lump sum in September. You do get in that 2 amounts. So your first one will come in September, and then your second one's in December. If you do find that you're running out of money, you are able to top it up at any time. so it's super useful. All of our stuff's done digitally, so there's no like having to like go to an office, like wait in line forever to talk to someone just to ask to add more money to your meal plan. You can do all from like the comfort of your phone. There was many a times in my upper years that I added money to my meal plan while like sitting in the dining hall or like walking around the eatery. So it's definitely super useful that you can do it all from your phone on very centralized kind of application. So super useful. You can do it at any time. And then again, with meal plans, one thing that I definitely recommend, and this is what I did. So I ended up getting one of the larger meal plans. And then I had a lot left at the end of my first year. So instead of like mass eating it all and trying to spend all the funding, I was able to carry it over to my every years. So in my second and third year, when I was on campus, I lived off campus my second and third year. I was able to come to campus and then have my meals paid for through my meal plan instead of having to worry about like my debit or credit. So that's a little bit about topping up. So definitely handy if you do go for the larger meal plan that you are able to carry it over. So something to keep in mind. But if you do get a lighter meal plan and you find that you need a bit more funding, you are able to get more money on your meal plan at any time throughout the year. And then I'll pass it to Vanessa to talk a little bit about off-campus students and eating here on campus.
Yeah, so thank you, Sam. As she said, if you plan on living off campus, especially in your second, third, and fourth, potentially fifth year, you can definitely recommend getting a larger meal plan and just letting the money roll forward. That is exactly what I do as well, and a lot of my friends did that too. So that's a great option. If you are planning on living off campus in first year, you are still welcome to dine at any of our dining halls on campus. The thing you will pay is with your debit or credit. However, if you do plan on dining on campus often, we do have an ultra food plan where you can load a certain amount on, and that will still give you access to some of the discounts that you get for using your meal plan. And like Sam said, it is very convenient to just have your student card to walk around with and tap, and you don't have to go in your wallet for your debit. So yeah.
Thank you. And Vanessa, a follow-up question. So I know your role is as the onboards person. How students are wondering how they can have an impact in crafting menus, and how do you work with students? So give us a little bit of information on how that process works to ensure that students are active participants within our dining options.
Yeah, so I love my job because I get way more positive comments from students about everything on campus, about the food. Whenever there is an issue with the food, and I can collect that data from I do dining hall surveys in each of the dining halls multiple times a semester to get a lot of feedback from students that are actually in the dining hall eating right in that moment. Like I said, so many times it's amazing. And a lot of students can write in and request that they really liked when Creelman Hall had this feature, or they liked the Buddha bowls. So I can easily go and relay that information to our chefs and our dining hall managers, who will definitely work to get those items back on the menu, as well as if something is consistently not living up to our standards, and I can let them know and we can work to improve that.
That sounds really, really, really good. And Chloe, I want to pull you in here as well. And I know your role is really key to ensure that students are eating healthy. So help dispel the freshman 15 myth. How does your work and the work with SNAP ensure that our students are eating healthy throughout their year time on our campus?
Yeah, so SNAP acts as a nutrition resource. So if there are any questions about eating on campus, we do encourage everyone to kind of either DM us on Instagram or email us any of your concerns. And just to touch upon like eating healthy on campus, it is definitely possible. There is a lot of variety that is offered on campus, whether it's vegetables, fruits, protein sources that are vegetarian, non-vegetarian. From these many options, you can definitely kind of eat the important nutrients you need every day. And there is a wide variety of kind of balanced meals that they serve on campus as well. And a big component of Guelph food is that it's very customizable. So you can kind of make your own meal to what suits your goals. And of course, when you reach out to us, we can provide you many options that fits your goals as well, whether it's eating a plant-based diet or kind of looking for gluten-free options, we can always direct you with that on campus.
Thank you. It's really great to know it's not a one size fits all, and we're continuously looking out for the health and well-being of our students. So that concludes today's session. And with that, I want to say, great thank you to our panel of experts today, Leanne, Alex, Samantha, Chloe, and Vanessa, for really providing us all the relevant information on residence and dining. Thanks as well to our recruitment staff, Christine, Julia, Purvi, and Geneva, for your support as well, and Mila as well. I'd also recommend checking out our various videos and our virtual campus tours available on our admission website. And connect with us anytime. Join a webinar, meet with a liaison officer like myself or my colleagues, chat with a current student, and follow us on Instagram. So thank you so much. We do have a couple of questions still in the Q&A. We'll take a couple moments to answer those questions. But for now, I wish you all the best of luck. And don't forget, if you're interested in finding out more information on these webinars, get the recording, they will be available on our admission website and also on our YouTube page. Thank you so much for coming. I hope you have a great evening and a great rest of the week and a great weekend. Take care.